A Maricopa County detention officer getting ready for work, shot and killed in his own driveway this morning.
Deputies and police still trying to track down his killer out there. We have live team coverage of this developing story.
Katie Connor is live in the neighborhood where the shooting happened.
But we start with Nohelani Graff live near the sheriff's office where Joe Arpaio just wrapped up this news conference.
Katie and Steve, we have just learned that the man who was shot is Jorge Vargas. Sheriff Joe Arpaio says this was a murder. He is not ready to call this an execution yet. Vargas was 27 years old. He leaves behind a wife and a 5-year-old son. He has worked in the jail system as a detention officer for about 7 years. The sheriff says early this morning, Vargas was getting ready for work in partial uniform, tinkering with his car. A neighbor heard gunshots, saw a man run off, and found Vargas bleeding in his own driveway. This is the 4th sheriff's office employee shot in recent years, and Sheriff Arpaio is outraged.
We don't appreciate anybody killing our deputy sheriffs and our officers that work in the jail system. So once again, watch out. We're ready for battle, and we're going to take whatever action we need.
Right now, the suspect is still on the run. The description is thin. Phoenix Police Department is handling this case, but the sheriff's office says it will assist in any way it can. Katie and Steve.
Thanks so much, Noelani. Our team coverage continues now with Katie Connor.
And Katie, you've been in that neighborhood where this happened most of the day. Neighbors have to be stunned by this.
The entire neighborhood really in a state of shock after Vargas was shot just in his front yard. And Katie, Steve, a lot of times, neighbors feel safer with knowing that law enforcement officer lives next door. But in this case, as Sheriff Joe Arpaio said earlier this afternoon, that this could be a war on his officers. It's leaving the entire neighborhood in a state of shock and also just terrified. I talked with a lady who was too afraid to actually talk on camera. She lives a couple houses down from where the shooting happened. She says she heard 3 shots, and then she saw Jorge Vargas shot in his driveway. She then saw the shooter running from the scene, and he hasn't been seen since. Now neighbors are scared that that shooter could come back to the neighborhood.
Because I never experienced anything like this before. And for it to be so close to me, that could have been my life. But hey, things happen. I just hate it that it was him, because he had a family, a young wife, a baby he left behind, all because an individual want to bring harm on this man.
And earlier this afternoon, a deputy left a bouquet of flowers at the same spot where Vargas was shot. And, the entire neighborhood, as I've been talking with him throughout the day, still very scared, especially with a suspect on the loose. Of course, ABC 15 will be out here all night long, making sure nothing else develops. And I did talk with the sheriff's deputies just behind me over there, and they say that there will be a deputy in this neighborhood until the suspect is found to make sure neighbors feel safe.
Yeah,
Steve, Katie?
I think a lot of people across the valley are feeling what those neighbors are feeling, just so hurt and disgusted that this has happened on our streets in broad daylight. Katie, thank you.